get comfortable here. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do another sit down video. This is a video that I've had in the back of my mind for the last few weeks, and life got busy. I got busy with projects and there just wasn't really a good time to take the time to sit down and actually do it. So here we are. You're welcome. So today's video is going to be about accepting people for who they are, and I don't have any notes. I kind of wanted this to be a sit down video where I was talking to a friend and just kind of having a conversation with you guys. So there is a reason behind this video and why I'm recording this, and it's because it's been a certain way that I've been feeling recently, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. When I was a teenager, I was basically like emo or a scene kid, and I was just different. I was artsy and I listened to screaming music and I was into the punk rock scene, and I just was very drawn to that genre of stuff. So in my early 20s, I started dating this guy and I didn't feel like it was so much accepted, and then I got a job in like this professional field. I was working in a clinic, and so I had to be professional, and a lot of jobs made me take out my piercings. And that stemmed until I was about 25 years old when I moved back from New Jersey. I went out to the East Coast to pursue my dreams of modeling, and it didn't work out. And so I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna get covered in tattoos, put my piercings back in, and be who I truly am. Yeah, this sparked at about age 25, and that's like around the time when I bought my house. And it was the first time in my life where I could genuinely, truly be myself without anybody saying anything. It was the first time I ever lived by myself. It was the first time that I actually had the space to become who I am inside. And it's not just physical appearances. I think it's very important to accept people for who they are. Maybe they're a little bit more angry. Maybe they're very opinionated. You know, I think we lose ourselves a lot of times because we subconsciously think that we can control what people are thinking, saying, or doing, but we genuinely can't. And I think a lot of times, and like with social media, I think the big problem with social media is, or like the negative, is we're so focused on other people's lives that we're not taking a look inward. We're not taking a look in the mirror. We're not seeing the work that we need to do. And I'm guilty of this myself, and not so much in friendships, because I'm very accepting of who people are and I love them for who they are, and I know to the center of my core that I can't change them, and I don't want to because I love them. That's why we're friends in the first place. I can't change my family. It's just there's people are certain ways, they are who they are, and I think that it's important to recognize or acknowledge if someone's hurt you, especially with family. That gets a little bit more complicated. How am I trying to say this? So accepting them for who they are doesn't mean that what they said or did to you is okay. It's just loving them regardless. And am I saying if someone's super toxic, keep them in your life? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that, because there's certain people that I've had to let go, even like friendships I've had to walk away from, not because they're a bad person, but because their tendencies or what they were doing was really affecting my life. And to rewind a little bit, I was saying that I'm guilty of it as well, as not accepting people for who they are. It's not in the friendships, it's in romantic relationships. And I'm totally calling myself out in this. It took a lot of years of healing and a lot of years of internalizing and taking a look at myself in the mirror and really seeing where I was going wrong in relationships. And it's because I would get a guy who was broken, that was either addicted to substances, alcohol. They were very avoidant personalities. And it's not that these people were bad things. I think where I really went wrong was thinking that I could change them, I could make them better. And it took me a long time and really being honest with myself to recognize that I can't fix anybody. It's not my job to fix anyone. And how would I like it if someone tried to fix me? And I feel like I kind of got a taste of my own medicine the last 2 or 3 years, because I'm introverted, but I also have a crazy personality, and I've seen people just kind of try and shut that in a box. They've tried to kind of downplay it a little bit, or they try and shush me, or I think the biggest one is if I swear, people will correct me. I'll say shit and they'll be like, oh, you mean crap? I'm like, no, I mean shit. Like, I feel like when people come in and they try and correct me, or they're constantly like on, like it's like hovering. When people are hovering over me like that, I don't want to be around them. And I think that it's important to accept people for their flaws and alls and genuinely love them to their core, love them for who they are. You know, there might be a family member or a friend that you love to pieces, but there's that one thing that absolutely drives you crazy. And it's crazy because quite a few years ago I was watching this video of this man and his wife had passed away. They were married for maybe 50, 60 some years. They were together a very long time, and she would get very frustrated with him because he wouldn't pick up his coat, he wouldn't pick up his jacket, he wouldn't pick up his hat, and she was constantly nagging at him to do those things. And she passed away, and the guy said, it's crazy because the thing I miss the most about her is yelling at me to pick up my hat or my jacket. One thing that I've also learned in these past few years is it's not our job to fix people, and I think that there's an anxiety that surfaces around that. Like, that's a very heavy weight to carry. It's not our weight to carry. It's not our weight to carry to want to change somebody. It's not our job to tell somebody what they need to change about themselves so we can accept them into our lives. And in all honesty, it's very selfish, and I'm guilty of it too, like I said, but I just think that people just want to be loved, and at the end of the day, the one thing that brings us all together is love. It's acceptance, it's unity, it's relationships, it's those special moments, and I think a lot of times we get so distracted by what we're upset about or what someone did to piss us off that we don't reflect on those little moments and hold them so close to us until it's too late. I was thinking about this last night. I was heading home from a concert, and I thought about my mom, and I thought about, shit, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional. I thought about how kind she was to me and what she did for me as a person, and I was reflecting on why I love her so much and why she meant so much to me. And it was because she accepted me for who I am. She had this unconditional love about herself, and it didn't matter what I did, what I said. She loved me anyway. She loved me through the dark times. I mean, there were times as a teenager that I was not very nice to her because that's teenage stuff, and I'm not making excuses for myself, but still to this day, there's things that I regret saying to her because they were very hurtful. What we say to people, we can't take it back. And I think it's important too, like if someone's really getting under your skin, to keep your mouth shut, or at least until you're cooled off and you can like have a conversation with them a couple days later, or however long it takes you to like not be so upset. Words can cut like a knife. There's even a verse in the Bible, I don't remember which section it's in, but it's like words can cut like a knife. That will stick with someone forever. Even if it's a comment and you think you're joking about something, especially based on someone's appearance. This is another thing that I've really observed the last, I don't know, I want to say couple of weeks. I cannot tell you how many women, and there's a couple guys, that have told me things that they hate about themselves physically. And personally, it's not up to me to fix that or change their mind or make them think otherwise. You know, like I would tell them like, oh, I think you're beautiful, but in that instance, sometimes I think that people just need us to listen to them. And when people feel like they have a safe space to open up to somebody and talk to them about stuff, they're gonna get that stuff out, and eventually they can start their healing journey by talking about those kind of things. I think that when I was younger, I thought I needed to give people unsolicited advice sometimes, and there's a lot of times where it came at the right time, and there's quite a few times where maybe I should have shut my mouth. And I think a lot of times what people really want from us is to listen to them. I'm not saying if someone's like constantly like toxic gossiping or trying to start drama, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like when someone's genuinely struggling with something, just having a listening ear, giving them the space to just be themselves. I think it's important for people to feel like they're accepted for the ugly. I think people feel the most love is when they can authentically be themselves and just be fucking ugly. Not like ugly to you, but be at their absolute worst and they're falling apart, and they can trust you with that because you're giving them the space to allow them to just be themselves and let it out. I think there's so many times when we bottle up emotions and we put a cap on it, and it's kind of like a bottle of pop when you're shaking it, or, you know, even anything under pressure is gonna explode. But yeah, reverting back to thinking that I could fix guys or change them, I mean, who did I think I was? It's not my job. It's not my job to change someone's dusty ass son. It's not my job to tell them how to act. It's not my job to be their mother. I think it's very important in relationships to have a partner, someone who's going to be a team player, than trying to babysit somebody. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but it does relate, but I just want to say this. A lot of times we settle in relationships because we're lonely. A lot of times we settle in relationships because we think that we're running out of time. A lot of times we settle in relationships because our self-worth is lacking and we don't have the confidence and we don't even know where to begin to fix that confidence or have confidence in the slightest. I never really understood when people were like, oh, you have to love yourself before you can love others. And that phrase would just get under my skin and it would irritate me because I knew what it meant, but I didn't feel what it meant because I wasn't there yet. And it took a lot of years of self-worth to recognize that I don't need to date somebody just to fill a void within myself, and I love myself enough to go out and do things by myself. I love myself enough to not hate myself. I can't tell you how many years I had this thing taped up on my bathroom mirror, and it said, you are beautiful, you are important, you matter, and it had all these other little things underneath it. And I read that out loud every single day for years until I actually believed it. And it took a lot of time. It was more than just saying those things to myself to believe it. But going back to settling in relationships or settling in love or even settling with surface level friendships, people who really don't care about you, and you know that because they've shown it. Actions speak louder than anything in this world. We can't fix anybody. It's not our job to fix anybody. And we put so much pressure on ourselves and we think that we can. We're not God. Like, it's not our job. And I think that there's an importance in detaching ourselves from thinking that we can control that and we can control how someone behaves. I personally, the people who are the closest to me in my life are the ones who don't try and correct my behavior. They're not trying to correct what I do. They're not trying to tell me the things that I like to do are bad for me. I think the right people come into your life when you're just you and they love you for you. And they're not going to try and stick a finger in your face and tell you how to act. And you're not walking on eggshells. Just genuinely to the core, they love you for who you are. And you can come to them ugly, you can come to them broken, and they're still going to love you anyway. Even though it's not their job to fix you. They're not trying to fix you. They just love you. So I hope that this video helped you in some way. Leave me a comment down below. I know I'm touched on quite a few different points. And I think I might make another video like this again, just because I feel like it's a very in-depth topic. Share your story below, or I don't know, what's one weird thing about yourself that's cool? Like, is there a certain way you like to dress? Is there like a cool hobby that you like to do? Or is there something that somebody considers nerdy? Just be you. I want to hear about it down in the comments. Anyway, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Peace out, homages.